Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Governing Board of National School District. I would like to ask you to join us as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry, we're re-adjourning to open session. Please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I realize it didn't bang the hammer. Is it official if I didn't bang the hammer? Okay. Sorry. As for the closed session, no action was taken in closed session. We do want to clarify for the public, an item titled Existing Litigation was posted to our agenda for tonight's meeting. However, this was an error, and existing litigation was not discussed by the governing board. So thank you. We wanted to make sure that was made clear. Would you please call the roll for open session?
President Mitchell?
Present.
Ms. Allen?
Present.
Ms. Betancourt Castañeda?
Present.
Ms. Lizarraga?
Present.
Ms. Gay?
Present. All right, item 5 is presentations. 5A is to introduce and welcome new employees. Dr. Kevin.
I have the pleasure of introducing our new employees. I have 2 employees who were able to make it today, so I'll go ahead and call those 2 forward. As I call your name, if you wouldn't mind coming up, we'll take a picture. And then afterwards, I'll speak about the employees that couldn't make it tonight. So our first new employee is Gabriela Danielle Barbara Dang. She's our new backup teacher. Ms. Barbara Dang has more than 1 year of experience as a classroom teacher with the Chula Vista School District. She holds a bachelor's degree in liberal arts and a master's degree in teaching from San Diego State University. Welcome, Gabriela. Our next new employee is Joanna Martinez, Library and Media Specialist for Central School. Ms. Martinez has more than 20 years of experience in office management. She is enrolled in the Early Childhood Program at National University. Welcome, Joanna. Our next 2 new employees couldn't make it tonight. Chloe Mullen, speech language pathologist. Ms. Mullen has more than 4 years of experience as a certified speech language pathologist. She holds a bachelor's and a master's degree in speech language pathology. So welcome, Chloe. Our next new employee is Emery McCool, who's going to be a VAPA teacher at Rancho de la Nacion. Mr. McCool is coming from Fort Bragg Unified School District, where he worked as an instructional assistant. He holds a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in education. Welcome, Emery. And we want to welcome all of our new employees to the NSD family.
Okay, it's good to have you. Thank you for joining us. All right, item 6 is public communications. Public communication provides the public with an opportunity to address the board regarding an item on the agenda or other topic. Anyone wishing to address the board shall submit a request for oral communications card. Cards are available near the entrance to the boardroom and are to be submitted to the recording secretary. A member of the public who wishes to address the board on any such matter is limited to 3 minutes for one matter, up to a maximum of 5 minutes for all closed and open session matters. There shall be a limit of 20 minutes for any matter unless such time limit is waived by a majority vote of the board. Members of the public may not yield any time to other speakers. No board action can be taken. We have 3 speakers who have asked to speak tonight unless there are any extras. No, at this time, Okay. We have Irma Sanchez for, all of them for, it says specifically PC 6.
Item 6.
Yes, so it's public comments, so it's okay, that is this one. All right, just making sure I have that. So Irma Sanchez, then Shelby Creswell, and Dorothea Donovan.
Where's the time? So good evening, Board President, members of the Board and Executive Cabinet. I stand before you here today as both a teacher and the president of NCETA. I believe it's essential to illuminate certain issues within our district. NCETA proudly represents public educators who are charged with educating all students. That this unequivocally includes students needing specialized educational programs. These students deserve ample resources, and the dedicated educators who serve them require additional support, including planning time, targeted training, and a voice in the decision-making process. NCETA members have received alarming reports from parents that changes are being made to student placements with mere phone messages left on their voicemail. Teachers are discovering after the fact that pilot programs, such as a collaborative SAI model or a co-teaching, but let's not call it that because that's negotiable, and something being referred to as a spectrum model have been launched at their school, leading them to contact the association, which itself has been left in the dark. We implore the board to direct the administration to collaborate with the association rather than seemingly circumvent it. We can achieve far more for our students than when we are all rowing together in the same direction. From NCETA's perspective, these decisions are being made behind closed doors and without essential stakeholder input. This lack of transparency breeds friction among teachers who are left to implement theory in real time without proper planning, training, or necessary resources. If there are changes to instructional delivery and practice, principals should provide leadership and guidance rather than leaving it up to the individual teachers to work it out. These unwritten directives that lack a true plan breed contempt. Teachers have reported feeling disrespected and intimidated by the administrators when they seek support and training to navigate these new working conditions. Co-teaching without training and support for all staff involved. SDC teachers providing SAI services in the general education setting instead of within a self-contained class, which is outside of their job description and working conditions. Managing severe behavior problems with larger class sizes without training, PD, or support. Implementing a semi-SAI model that changes job descriptions and roles, SDC students being placed into the general education classroom to receive services, placing teachers well over the class size cap for the majority of the school day with no support or desks. RSP students being placed in a more restrictive setting of an SDC class to receive RSP services without an IEP meeting to discuss change of placement to a more restrictive environment. When concerns about administration include formal complaints are raised to the district level, teachers feel ignored or even retaliated against. This pervasive low morale ultimately affects everyone, more importantly, our students. Am I allowed to finish? I know I'm out of time. Our members have reported that the special education director appears to be dictating student placements and arbitrarily limiting or rationing the availability of essential services. Teachers express their concerns to us but are intimidated by Dr. Vargas and his supervisors who seem to shield his decisions from scrutiny. We have directly addressed the issues of intimidation and retaliation with administrators, only to be met with dismissive responses citing our legal protections against termination without due process as reasons why teachers cannot rationally feel intimidated. This serves as a stark example of how unheard and undervalued we feel. Whenever challenged, the district deflects responsibility by citing federal law, implying it grants them unlimited authority to act as they see fit, regardless of the impact on students. A prime example of this is the district's insistence on using TK rest time for so-called social mainstreaming. The practice is not only pedagogically unsound, but also demonstrates a blatant disregard for the developmental needs of these young learners. In the pre-COVID era, a special education staff task force exemplified how all stakeholders could collaborate effectively
develop a comprehensive plan. Regrettably, its findings were never formally presented to the school board in open session. Since then, the district's willingness to engage in open dialogue regarding its plans for the special education program has drastically diminished. While the district may receive assurances from its consultants that their actions are legally permissible, we stand before you to assert that we can achieve far greater outcomes by working together in a cohesive manner. I implore you, as the ultimate supervisor of the superintendent, to the district administration to embrace a collaborative approach with us. Thank you.
Shelby Curso,
I don't think so.
Dorothea Donnelly.
Good evening. I'm reading on behalf of an NSD teacher. My name is Janelle Vitale, and I am an SDC teacher. My job as an SDC teacher became extremely challenging when district administrators did not take the active role in supporting classrooms last school year. Without the director's support in appropriately staffing my class and with no guidance in mainstreaming, what could have been an enriching school year instead ended in catastrophe. Instructional assistants are an essential part of an SDC classroom. I started the school year with 2 full-time aides and 1 part-time aide. I had a full class of 14 students. When even 1 IA is absent, you can bet that classroom runs differently. I was sent swing subs or different VBA staff every day. I brought this up numerous times to the director of special education. I kept asking for a trained adult, and I still kept being sent someone who was not familiar with being in an SDC classroom. It is not possible for me to do my job while also doing the job of 3 IAs. Being only 3 to 5 years old, all of my students needed support with a wide variety of needs. Sometimes I only had 1 aide and myself. When the IA would take their lunch, I was left alone with all 14 students. The director of student support services said he would try his best to send me a 3rd full-time healthcare aide, but never followed up. I even invited him to check out my classroom. He never visited my classroom once during the school year. A classroom cannot run without support and consistency. You would think that the director of special education would want to set up students and teachers for success, but I never received any support. SDC TK teachers met with student support services and an attorney in November 2023 to discuss mainstreaming. In this meeting, we were told to increase mainstreaming minutes, but we're not given guidance on how to do it. SDC TK teachers asked for extra IA support, but we were told to forget about the adults and think about what structures and interventions we could put in place instead. When I asked how to mainstream my SDC TK student in a class that was already full, the director of SPED said he would look into the possibility of walking the students over the field and up to our neighboring school, El Toyon. If I didn't have enough staff, how would I even take my student to the other school? And I don't even think it's legal. Student support services never followed up. SDC teachers were not supported on how to mainstream, and general education teachers did not get the guidance they needed to include SDC students, which was promised in that mainstreaming meeting. I left the meeting feeling confused and intimidated. These mainstreaming meetings provided to be unproductive and did not lead to meaningful change. It truly takes a village to best support students. So instead of being ignorant of the law and out of touch with real issues that affect students, why not take the action and brainstorm meaningful solutions with the teachers who know their class the best? The director of special education plays a key role in ensuring the success and well-being of our students. I am asking the board to consider if this is what is best for our students. We need more competent leadership in student support services. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Item 7 is agenda. Item 7A is to accept the agenda.
Second.
Do you have any questions? Okay. I have a motion to accept the agenda by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, a second by trustee Sarmiento. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 8 is to approve the consent agenda and routine items of business. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon in one action by the board. It is understood that the superintendent has recommended approval for these items. There will be no discussion prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. All items approved by the board will be deemed considered in full and adopted as recommended. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion?
Any questions? All right, I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
All right, item 9 is policies, regulations, and bylaws. Item 9A, first reading of board policies and administrative regulations from California School Boards Association updates. Dr. Brady.
Yes, we are ready for our next round of policy updates. These are updates that are being suggested by CSBA. You'll see the 5000s, which are our instructional policies, as Dr. Kraft has reviewed each one of them. These are for first reading only for the board. That means you'll take them home and spend some time with them, make your notes. And at our next meeting, we'll schedule a workshop for President Gates to go through and discuss each one and any additional comments you may have. And then we'll have our final vote on a third meeting when we have a chance to incorporate any of the discussion that we have at the next meeting. Thank you. So no action tonight.
Okay, thank you. Item 10 is general functions. We do not have anything specific there. Item 11 is educational services. Item 11A, I'll remember the hammer this time. Conduct a public hearing to discuss the sufficiency of instructional materials. The board will now hear comments from any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. As part of this hearing, we will make a brief statement. Dr. Kraft.
Yes, annually, we do have our Williams inspection as a result of, sorry, I'll speak louder. Every year we have a Williams inspection as a result of a settlement to ensure that students are in receipt of and have access to core curriculum. And as you'll see, the core curriculum list for National School District is attached. We do have outside agency who does come and do checks to ensure that we have sufficient materials for each of the students we serve. Based on that, they do provide the district a report. And before we move to resolution, we have an opportunity for the public to make any comments, and that is the purpose of the public hearing.
Okay, are there any speakers to this issue?
No.
Okay. Do members of the board have any comments or questions? All right, then this hearing is closed. Thank you. Item 11B is to adopt resolution number 24-25.05, determining the sufficiency of instructional materials. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt?
I second the motion.
Okay. Dr. Kraft?
Yes, this resolution recognizes that the National School District does meet the learning settlement requirement and our students have sufficient materials.
Any questions? No? All right. We have a motion to adopt resolution 24-25.05 by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item 11C is to approve the adoption for science curriculum of FOSS Pathways by Delta Education. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Dr. Kraft?
Yes, I'm excited to bring this to the board. Last year, we did conduct in accordance with the state guidelines, an adoption team protocol in which the majority of the participants were classroom teachers. We did have a nice variety, so we have representation of each group. They went through in the first level, evaluated the materials that were available to them based on the alignment to the standards, and then we got support from our County Office of Education. And then the next step was for them to bring it down after discussions to two pilot. They could do 2 or 3. They decided on 2 curriculums that they were going to pilot and then discuss, evaluate, and determine if that would be the curriculum we would adopt. They went through both of them and they overwhelmingly moved to adopt the FOSS Pathways by Delta Education to recommend as an adoption to the board for our new science curriculum.
Sorry.
Okay, trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
press it, but they didn't light
I
up.
was hiding my lights. Okay then.
It's okay.
Trustee Lizarraga.
Thank you. Yeah, I just, reading the description, I was reading it and I know that the materials promotes the involvement of the parents too, but also members of the community. What it can be criteria or what is the intentionality of putting community members? And because I know it's beneficial, but what type of community members can be putting their input in this?
Yes, as part of the guidelines from the state, is that we must involve the community and parents. And so we put the materials on the road and we advertise for individuals to view the materials. We consciously put them at schools because we know that's easier access for our parents and our community. And they do have the opportunity to review it, to have questions, and to provide input.
Thank you.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
So on our agenda, it says there's no financial impact currently because we're just showing the materials to our families and to everybody to be able to participate in the, like the rollout of it. Later on, you will see the financial impact. Is that correct?
Yes, this actually is a request for the board to adopt this as our science core curriculum. Once the board has adopted it, then we then have the authority to begin purchasing it and setting it up for our classroom. And we will begin the training protocol and of course through our parent engagement protocols and outreaches informing them.
I just want to make sure that there's no impression that it's not going to cost the district any, it's not going to be no financial impact.
Not this particular item. There is no financial impact in your approval of it.
Currently,
for
but
currently.
we will get the bill later.
You will get the bill later.
Right.
No, I will bring, we'll bring that forward for you to see also.
One of the things that my understanding has been that one of the things people have appreciated about FOSS over the years is that it has long-term been a hands-on curriculum. Instead, like, one of the things about science is the get in there and be messy with it, do it. And so, there have been many programs historically that have attempted to just teach by book, but FOSS has never been a teach by book curriculum. And so they're like, historically, FOSS has been valued for its get in there and experience science. And so it seems like it's still valued for that very thing.
That's correct.
Okay,
The kits will come, they do follow the new California State Standards approach, the pedagogical approach, where you begin with a phenomena that can be observed, and it becomes very inquiry-based, which is what scientists do. There are components of writing and math and calculation, because science is applied math, that are involved in it, but it is a doing curriculum. You are hands-on, you are engaged, you're a scientist. So that is why it is fundamentally really focused on science. Some of the science curriculum, will have science, but it'll be more textbook and or focused on maybe building science literacy, reading and writing, but this actually does the engagement phenomenology of it.
I remember apparently we were supposed to be very neat scientists when I was a kid.
Yes.
Because we did not do nearly as much. Trustee Bettencourt Castellino.
Are we able to have those that did the pilot program have workshops for the parents to be able to engage those that are wanting to learn about the program a little bit more in depth? So that way, when our students come home and bring those projects or have those the works that need to be done and to need help, the parents are able to participate and actually assist a little bit more in depth, because it's going to be a new way of learning for them. And those of us, I don't have elementary school, but those of us that need to assist them would be able to provide that support at home. We learned science differently, as President Gates was alluded to. It's not neat anymore. It's really hands-on, very different approach.
Yes, actually, that's a great idea, and we do have already trained individuals, obviously our district resource teachers, but we could put that out there.
Like a roadshow.
Yeah, anybody that's interested. We also have our parent summit that'll be coming up, and that could be a place, but we could also just have, roadshow where we bring it to the schools, and anyone that's interested in learning more, or through school side events, we can immerse them. A lot of our schools have science night, and they're doing nights, and so that would be, another forum. But I will bring that back to the team. That's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have one.
Okay, just say what it's
Thank you. This FOSS Pathways to Delta education is only targeted to kinder to 6th grade, right? There is any rationale why the TK are not there?
Yes, the TK has STEM scopes. It's a different program more aligned to their developmental needs. And we paused on changing it because the foundational standards are just rolling out. In fact, our TK and preschool teachers are getting training on them right now. And so once we have a better idea, we'll make the determination of whether STEM scope still meets besides the developmental, the actual standards that are placed out. If it doesn't, we will consider a new adoption. If it does, then it is something that our TK teachers brought to us, and so hopefully we can continue if they've had success with it.
Thank you for clarifying. Just for the case of, in sake of having siblings on upper graders, and they have little TK students as well, just to have a clarification question. Thank you.
All right. I have a motion by Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda to approve the adoption, and I have a second by Trustee Sarmiento. Please vote.
Madam President, unanimously.
All right. Item 11D is to approve the purchase with Lexia Voyager Sopris for additional step-up to writing licenses. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
And second the motion?
All right, Dr. Kraft.
Yes, this actually ties to our science curriculum. Informational writing, science writing is an important component of the curriculum. And then simultaneously through the LCAP process, our teachers did request for additional support, strategies, pedagogically, resources for writing. Step Up to Writing is that opportunity, and thank you to the board for approving the initial purchase of it. We did get it for teachers. As we have been rolling it out, kind of testing it out, we have come to believe that we need to ensure that our support staff, who often serve students K through 6, need access to all the grade levels, that it's not sufficient to. Sometimes it's sufficient to do like middle grade and an upper grade, but they really do need access to it. So an approval of this would allow us to provide that to them.
Do we have any questions? All right, then I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by trustee Pisarica. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item 11E is to amend CT 4014 with Ocean Connectors. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, Dr. Kraft.
This component of our Ocean Connectors, we had it last year, a grant that helped us do the broad course of study scheduling and structuring. We did lose a component of that grant, so we would like to continue it. It was very helpful for staff, and it would be a contribution on our part of $20,000, so we would increase our contract with Ocean Connectors for that amount.
Questions? All right, I have a motion to amend CT 4014 by trustee Avalos with a second by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
Ms. Avalos? Item passes unanimously.
All right, item 11F to amend CT 4067 with Abre for additional professional development. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have, okay, we have the motion in the second. Dr. Kraft.
Yes, as the board may remember, thank you, you approved Abre, which is an integrated data system that allows us to have multiple data points at our fingertip. Last year, we rolled it out with leadership, taking it slow to make sure that it met our needs and that we were able to do personalized dashboards with it. It was successful. This year, we look to bring it out to our support staff that serve school-wide, our LASs, and our RSPs, so that they can also have access to this. But we would like to do it with our LASs, and so we would like Aubrey to come in to do the training. Although we're getting good at it, we're probably not that good. So an approval of this would allow us to have them come in and do some more training with our LASs, because they are critical, and our MTSS site coordinators, critical part of our multi-tiered systems of support.
Any questions? All right, then I have a motion to amend CT 4067 by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda with a second by trustee Sarmiento. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item 11G to approve CT 4217 with Learner Centered Collaborative for Leadership Development Services. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Dr. Kraft?
So this one I'm very, very excited about. We partnered with them last year and began the initial work around our learner profile, which you've had the opportunity to see. This year we'll continue some of the similar structure, but a more targeted overall focus on the how of the learner profile. Last year, we really focused on the what. We had the opportunity to work with educational leaders across the country and to view schools, public schools across the country, which was illuminating. And so when I look at the learner profile, really it's the success criteria of when you are, leaving national school district, what are the components that, you can bring with you. This year we want to figure out, that's our what, now we want to figure out the how. How might this become, something that our teams and our staff are contributing and to help build. And so we want to, once again, lean into our educational partners who, some of which have done this work, of the coaching sessions on how this might be rolled out so that it's a collective effort with collective vision. And then that information will help guide our educational services teams, our leadership teams, and our certificated and classified staff on what might this look like when we're giving this message and this opportunity for kids to meet this success criteria. So we're very excited and hopefully have the opportunity to work with them again this year.
Okay, any questions?
Yes.
Trustee Sarmiento?
I'm curious, why is there a one-time travel expense, $15,000?
Because we work with different people from across the country. They break it evenly. So the first convening will be here in San Diego and California, West Coast people don't really have to travel. We won't have to travel. And then the next one will be, last year I think it was in the Midwest, wherever it's closest with the other groups, so they don't have to travel as much. So they split it between the two. And there's 2 convenings. Sorry.
Dr. Brady?
I'm not sure it's a travel cost. It's a cost there's a $15,000 cost to be part of the national connections. And then the rest of it, the $65,000 is additional professional development where they're going to come in, do focus groups, work with our leadership, our teachers, our parents, our students to co-design a learning model to bring the learner profile to life. So maybe that's an error on thank you for pointing that out, Trustee Sarmiento. It really is a total cost for the whole package of $80,000. But any additional travel, lodging, and the travel and lodging are not included in the cost of this. That's an additional approval. One we won't need to do because it's here in San Diego. If we choose to participate in the second travel event, we would need prior approval from the governing board.
So do we
Sorry for
adjust the motion then?
Sorry for the confusion on that. Yeah, so the motion would need to be adjusted for just the total cost of the professional development package for $80,000 for professional.
Thank you for catching that. My apologies.
All right, so if we are making that adjustment, how should that be worded?
So the maker of the motion needs to amend their original motion.
So we should, we're saying we should delete the one-time travel expenses line. Right. Okay. So Trustee Avalos, we're deleting that line specifically to the other costs regarding the $15,000. Is that acceptable as the maker of the motion?
Yes, of course.
All right. And then Trustee Lizarraga, as the second for the motion, we are deleting that line for one-time travel costs.
Yeah, I have a question with Marcel. And if we approve this, that cost will come out somehow in the future, right? Yeah, just to clarify that one, because it says travel and lodging not included, but the description of why we're doing that expense is very well explained on the description. So it would be experience on hand, brainstorming, sparring, and a presentation, right? So that creates a lot of work and not be compensated. That's just, I think the expense is well worth it. Thank you.
So technically, it's correct, but just not at this time. You have to bring it back for approval next time.
Right.
So we just know it's gonna come up later on. It's not, it'll be out of state travel? Okay.
Dr. Brady.
Yeah, so just for clarity, this item approval is only for the contract, and the contract total is 80,000. And it's for professional development, for us to continue the work we started last year at the executive cabinet level, to collaborate with districts across the nation, to build on our learner profile, but also it includes on-site professional development support, focus groups to work with our staff, our parents, our students, to help bring our learner profile to life in a co-creation model. And then any additional travel would be brought as a separate item for approval to the board.
Any other questions? All right, so I have a motion, an amended motion to approve CT 4217 with Learner Centered Collaborative for Leadership Development Services with a contract cost of $80,000. Crossing out the one-time travel expenses of $15,000. Motion is made by trustee Avalos, the amended motion, with a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item 11H to approve CT 4226 with EduDance, Classrooms in Motion to provide ballroom lessons to 6th grade students. Do I have to make a motion to approve?
Second the motion.
This is the part where being president kind of stinks, because I'd like to third that motion, because ballroom dance is cool for 6th graders. Anyway, moving on. Dr. Kraft.
I agree with you. It's super cool. The kids enjoy it, and I think it's a lifelong skill.
Okay, do we have any questions?
I just want to make a comment, and so do the parents enjoy it, to see their children actually dancing and not just standing there. It's actually fun, and to actually use it when they go to like a quinceañera or something.
That's what Dr. Pepin does.
Oh, is that what you?
Yeah. Dr. Burke needs to take the class.
Yeah, I need to
Right.
He needs the class. He feels like
Right.
he's, yeah.
And I'm glad we still have the culminating performance. That's such a good thing.
And also adds to their social and emotional skills for the kids in peer interaction, which is really cool. That's the most idea about it.
Gets them to engage with the.
Their partner.
And they still dress up?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, sorry. We got distracted for a moment. Any other questions? Okay. Then I have a motion to approve CT 4226 by trustee Avalos with a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
All right, item 12, human resources, we have nothing tonight. Item 13, business services. 13A. I'm gonna see if I can do this. Shh.
Okay.
13A to approve CT 4223 with the San Diego County of Education for 6th grade camp. Do I have a motion? Yes.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion.
I third.
Thank you. I have to, that's 6th grade camp, it's too good. Dr. Burke.
Yes, you may recall last year, our former camp provider had an emergency, and Camp Cuyamaca was there to bail us out and provided a great experience. And this is a new partnership that we are really excited about. September 9th through 13th, Central, Kimball, Lincoln Acres, and Olivewood would be scheduled. December 9th through 13th, El Toyon, Harbison, John Otis, Las Palmas, Palmer Way, and Rancho de la Nacion would be scheduled with approval of this item.
Do we have any questions? Okay, we have a comment or a question, trustee Bencourt Castaneda.
Two things. How well did our sixth grade teachers take to all of the change? Did we have, I know we had some meetings and so on. That's my first question. And I know that we have a schedule for parents to be able to do a visit. And then we have it approved tonight. I would like to have seen that before. I know that time always doesn't permit, but do we have a lot of interest so far? I know that it's not yet happening yet, but do we have a lot of parents interested? Do we know yet?
Right, and yeah, it was a timing thing for that, and it's nothing is scheduled. That was an interest gathering, so nobody has been confirmed for that trip. So if that trip ends up not happening because we don't approve here, there's no problem with that. We would just need to communicate that that trip won't be happening. But yes, there is an open house being provided by Camp Cuyamaca on September 7th, and our district will be providing buses should this item pass, so that families can go up and see Camp Cuyamaca firsthand, and they don't have to just rely on the website.
Right. I thought that was great that our district is providing transportation, because being that I have visited both camps, it's not always an easy drive for those of us that like to drive, but it's not always easy to get up there if you don't have the means of transportation. But it's nice that we're able to provide that service to our families, because that gives parents peace of mind and to know where their children are going, being that we've been at the other location for so many years. I actually went to Camp Cuyamaca as a child, so I'm sure things have changed the many years ago that I've been, but unfortunately, I think that I have a conflict with that date. But if I would have been able to go, I totally would be able. I would have been there. So I think I'll have to take a rain check for a different day. But I encourage parents to participate in this opportunity, because it's definitely a unique experience, because you cannot be there during camp week. I have parents saying that they're going to go chaperone. It's not going to happen. So take this opportunity, parents, if you're out there, to take this day that it's available, because you're not going to get another opportunity.
Right now, we have 3 buses scheduled, but we do have the capacity to add a bus should demand rise.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee
It's
Lisa?
just me making questions. More clarification questions. Which is really great. I really support this, but just to be in regard to the contracts, so that people will know about this, because it's in the contract says they're willing to lock in the rate for 3 years, right? Yes. Do you mind
Correct.
verbalizing that to the people who?
Yes, with rising inflation, costs on everything go up, year over year. When we sign new contracts, there's always upward pressure on cost. So they offer the opportunity for us to be at a steady rate for the 3-year agreement. So we wouldn't pay upfront 3 years. It would be, we would pay the price today. A year from now, we would pay that price again, and a year from then we would. I think the last one's discounted, and have to open it back up if I remember correctly. The last one is discounted, so that that extending the time not only locks in the cost but provides savings in the end, which is a great win for us without having to upfront the money.
All right, thank you. Just to clarify to the community, thank you.
And trustee Bencourt Castaneda?
I know that we have to lock into this contract. However, at the previous location, we ran into a snag, and then we were having to scrounge. I am hoping that we're not anticipating the same situation. We would not be binding to this contract if we were to run into a snag. to have to be stuck and not be able to get out of something?
No, for part of the contract is they have to perform for it to stay valid.
Okay, so we would be able to. Thank you.
One of, with it being run through the San Diego County of Education, it's a little different as well. And one of the things that for parents to also know, there is a 24/7 nurse that makes, that also makes a, just for, parents to know. So registered nurse who is there like the entire trip, which can be a really big deal. It means there's somebody there for your child at all times who's able to meet needs, and there are credentialed teachers there, not just our teachers, but like the people who are there are also credentialed teachers. So there's so many good camps. This is just a twist with Camp Cuyamaca that's just makes it a little different of a focus. But the turnaround really is quick too for September 9th. That's like our kids are kicking off the school year here, which is, I know, it's kind of crazy. Don't forget extra socks. That is one of those really weird things. Somehow or another, sixth graders forget socks. So please make sure your kids bring socks. Another thing I'm just going to tell you to please tell your children, it is actually not a good idea to think that you should put shampoo in your hair while your hair is dry, thinking that that will help you to take your shower ahead of time. Because you will end up with so much shampoo in your hair because it takes that much shampoo that you will never get all the shampoo out. Seems to have happened every year that I've taken kids to camp. And so you end up with so much shampoo and you can't get it out in your 2-minute shower. So if any parents are listening, please tell your children this ahead of time. Words of wisdom from a sixth grade teacher. Anyway, Dr. Kraft.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a few things. That is correct. We have a full nurse, which is very exciting and provides greater accessibility for all of our students. We've already had more of our students that have some health issues, parents having relief and wanting to participate. We've been getting info of that. Also, as Trustee Gates shared, it is staffed by certificated staff, certificated principals, certificated teachers. And so the curriculum is much more science focused. We're obviously in the science and a lot of the doing. And in addition, because it is the county and the county's vision really is about equity, their equity blueprint, we get an equity credit for our students, and which is $80 for students identified as unduplicated or a Title I, which starts to bring down our costs. So it's actually less expensive in the long run. So we're very excited. And with respect to the question around the teachers, they were part of some of the transition pieces from last year. And so we did get a lot of support in making sure that our kids were going to be able to go to camp and we were going to have the staff to meet their needs, as well as those who went to Camp Cuyamaca provided very positive feedback.
Okay, Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
I have to say, as a parent that sent all 3 of her kids to the other location, having a full-time nurse that had all 3 of her children have to attend the nurse's station, I'm very pleased that we have a 24/7 nurse. So it's very much of a peace of mind that we have that nurse there. But I also want to say, our students, our families are very, lucky that our district is able to pay for camp. So I just want to say that, they're in a good spot for them to be able to attend that. I encourage every family to please take advantage of this opportunity. You might be on the fence to not send your child, but I remember my camp like it was yesterday. I can visualize my cabin like it was, again, like I remember the snow, the black ice. I'm gonna say I slipped, but I slipped, yes. So I strongly encourage sending your students. They're gonna be in good hands. Please don't be afraid for the 4.5 days, or really, you'll see them Monday, you see them Friday, you only not see them the 3 days. So please send your children. It's gonna be a memory of a lifetime, and it's something that they'll never, ever be able to participate again. So please, I encourage you to send your children. So, and it's something not every district is able to provide to them. And so take advantage of what we're offering your students. And that, thank you.
Well, if we have nothing else. Trustee Sarmiento.
Thank you. How long has the district been paying for camperships for our students? Anybody know?
Isn't cost of students?
4 years.
During COVID time?
Before COVID, 2018.
Just before COVID?
I had to pay for my kids, all of them.
What year was that?
Oh, it's maybe 2018. 2018. As far as I remember, 2018. It might be 1 year before. Not that there was free,
It
But,
was free in 2018.
but I have my kids prior to that.
No, it
It was more than that?
was after.
Yeah, it was 20, after COVID? It could have been after COVID. Well, why don't we get that information for you? But it's been a few years now, I think 2 or 3 years at least, and it came out of the LCAP through that committee meeting.
Right, because we were at an LCAP meeting when that came up, and I remember having this conversation with few 6th grade teachers, I won't name names, but we had this conversation. I want to say at least 3 years.
It's while we've been on this board.
Yeah.
So they didn't go.
They will be
Only one group did.
one group, I think it was the latter part of that school year that missed.
Yeah, because in 2019, I think, kids went in December before we shut down, and they snowed. Just remember the photos.
So it was
And the
March,
last
so
group
that
didn't
March
go.
group that didn't get to go.
But yeah, there was the last group in the spring.
Then you had the COVID money, like,
That's when we
you had
started
the
paying
COVID money bump, and we're asking what you could do with it, and that's part of what you came back thinking you could do with it.
I want to say that's what about when we started to pay for it.
I remember my granddaughter, she wasn't able to attend camp because of COVID, and she picked up a big grocery bag full of materials to duplicate camp. She built a little campfire,
Teachers were amazing.
tissue and paper, and did that all at home. And
Yeah, because we reimbursed all of the money, and then I think that's when we started paying
Oh,
for it after that.
right, yes, we have to reimburse.
she's a 10th grader now, so.
Oh, I remember that, we were
Yeah,
reimbursed.
so I want to say that then we didn't go to camp for a little bit of time, and then after that is when we started paying for it.
22, 23, 24.
This is our
This is our third year.
Well, yeah,
How
that's
many
because it's a
kids does it take?
huge burden or lack of a burden on the parents, because I know it was really troublesome trying to scrape together the money. And sadly, some kids couldn't go because they couldn't afford it. So I'm really proud of us in the district for being able to do that. So it's very important to them. And like Maria says, the experience, you don't forget that. I remember mine, and I won't say how old I am, but I remember going to camp. We meant that.
And it also relieves a lot of the pressure on the teachers who had to do a lot of organizing for fundraisers, collecting money as it came in throughout the year. This really keeps the focus on academics.
Dr. Kevin?
I just wanted to share that my son's school is using Cuyamaca this year. That's also new. And I just went to a parent meeting to talk about camp and all the rules and everything. And we have to fundraise. So I just want to say how fortunate we are to have that paid for. And the cost for our school is $380 per family.
Unless you want to bring them here.
And we get free camp.
Hey,
We might be able to approve a transfer.
should put that on that card you mailed out. Free camp.
That's right. Free camp, yeah. I received it.
Excellent.
Any- So here we go. Unless
Let's come back.
my lights are not lit up. All right, we are approving CT 4223, or what we're voting to, with San Diego County of Education for sixth grade camp. Motion by me, with a second by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me do that. All right. Item 13B is to accept donations. Please, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
I second the motion.
All right, Dr. Burke?
Yes, this donation is for John Otis from Costco, and the donation is for $500.
Questions? All right, I have a motion to accept by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. And item 14, board cabinet communications. Trustee Sarmiento.
Yes, I would just like to say welcome to the new employees of the National School District family, Ms. Mullen, Mr. McCool, Ms. Barbara Bang, and Ms. Martinez. Sorry, that's all I have.
Okay, trustee Avalos.
I also want to thank you to the new employees that we have. How long has you been here? You did something to good already.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
Would like to also welcome our new employees to the NSD family. Wanted to acknowledge or thank Sun Safety for Schools for their $50,000 donation for our solar sun tables. I was able to attend the El Chillon ribbon cutting on Tuesday. It was a very generous donation from their nonprofit organization. And I encourage you to visit their website. I don't have it memorized, but I think our district would be able to perhaps maybe put it on our weekly, our update for board updates, maybe, so that we can perhaps advertise or maybe promote a donation, because they were generous in their $50,000 donation. I was, as my presentation updated you, I attended my delegate candidate review committee meeting on Saturday. Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide any information as it is confidential. We had interviews, so because it's still ongoing, not until it's concluded, I will be able to provide the names and the details. However, we did have nominations for our next chair and president for the committee. I was nominated to be the chair, president of the committee for our upcoming year. So I will be representing the candidate review committee for our upcoming year. So for CSBA. So I will be presenting at our next delegate assembly, which will be in December. And finally, I would like to wish my middle child a very happy birthday for Friday. He will be 22 years old. A lot of you have seen him grow up through this district. So it's surprising that he is 22. Yes, I am surprised myself, but yes, he is a very wonderful young man. He started his first year at San Diego State on Monday. And very proud of the individual he has become, and he continues to be. Very proud of him. So happy birthday, and I wish everybody a wonderful night.
Trustee Lasadaga.
Thank you, President Gates. I also echo the welcoming to the new employees, and that will be a very good asset for them, having a speech pathologist and all the support that our students need and feel fulfilled. And I'm very excited about the ballroom classes. And I tell you because that time when my older son got into the ballroom, he broke the ice with a friend that he never spoke before, and they became best friends afterwards when they were in high school. So that's totally a milestone for him about those ballroom classes. So thanks to the ballroom classes that they have and the interactions of touching and handling and courtesy and all those factors that increment the social peer interaction. So thank you. Also, free camp, how cool is that, right? So I just wanted to put the message out there. If you are in need if you have a special ed student and that requires support, just please speak out and be able to support that in part, because as a parent of a special ed kid, I tell you, you can be hesitant to say yes, go, but the letting go of a child with special needs is hard. So I'll reach to people, talk to someone that can help you out. So that creates, and they totally shine when they're there and the support that is needed, and they will never forget. He still remember he wears his shirt proudly that his dad went to camp too. So I'll reach to someone who can help you. Thank you. And also thank you for the speakers tonight. And also, I want to have a huge thank you to the resource teachers. I was able to pass information about Sunbucks program for $120 on a card for EBT, and she said, bring it on. It's Miss Barbara Hill. And she, thanks to her intervention, we were able to reach and disseminate money for the summer. So let us highlight her participation on that one. I received my 2 cards on the mail, and everybody's using those benefits as a reminder of the COVID money that were spread out to the families. So thanks to that intervention, she spread out the word. She's still doing it. It's an ongoing thing. And we still have some funding for extras, food for families. So let us extend that. Thank you for her. And to see how approachable they are. And also, I would like to brag about that my daughter came back to school, and she's pursuing a physics career. So hopefully she's in a community college. She's very into it. She's kind of a gap between COVID when her graduation for high school until now. And she's finally coming back to school again. She's gifted and she has the creative writing skills, a lot of vocabulary. I think she will be able to make it this time. So I wish her best luck to that. So, and that's all for me tonight. And thank you for the donations for tonight. It's really make a big impact.
Dr. Burke.
Yes, we had a really nice event Tuesday morning out at El Toyon, and the campus looked amazing. I'd like to thank Mr. Denegri and all the staff members for showing up, the grounds team, the custodial team for making it look great, the families that came out. It was awesome, so thank you for being there. And a big thank you to Caitlin and Nancy Chen, who were the donors of the solar tables, who are featured in that garden location. They donated, and this board accepted $50,000 in funds to help support the acquisition and installation of those solar tables. So we thank you so much for those. And I would just extend the opportunity for National School District families and community members to pay it forward. They get donations from other places, other people, and then they go do good, great things for schools. So the place that can be done, if you are interested, is sunsafetyforschools.org. And it's the word FOR, one more time, sunsafetyforschools.org, if you want to pay it forward. So thank you to them.
Dr. Kevin.
I want to welcome our new employees. Welcome to the NSD family. We also just want to announce we're doing a job fair with the Chamber of Commerce on September 11th over on National City Boulevard at the Southwestern College Satellite. And also, I just want to say Happy Labor Day.
Dr. Kraft.
Yes, I'd like to speak and just let the board know, because you are required for legal compliance, that there tonight there is no co-teaching spectrum model or collaboration model when it comes to special education. We are a district that provides continuum of service, and we are compelled by the IEPs to implement the IEPs in accordance to the law, and we must comply to the least restrictive environment as prescribed to the law and meet state mandates. So I just wanted to share that with you. I also wanted to share that we did do a review of students in the IEP actually designates time in special education. That is the key component that is really negotiated. And we looked to see if in fact there were students who were misplaced or percentage times. And we did not find an overwhelming number of students. In fact, there was an underwhelming number of students who were spending a large majority of their day. The IEP teams make the decision, so we double checked to make sure that the case managers were following the data, and we found those IEPs to be compliant. And I wanted to wish everyone a happy Labor Day.
Dr. Brady.
Yes, so I also want to thank the Sun Safety for Schools team, the president, Caitlin Chan, who actually started her foundation when she was just a sixth grader. She had a personal story where she was touched by somebody in her family having melanoma, and she really wanted to provide shade for elementary age students. So she's a perfect example of how students can make a difference and change the world. And so here she is, reaching out to our students, paying it forward. Thank you, Dr. Burke, for the information to pay it forward. They also created a flyer that they have sent to the Chamber of Commerce that has gone out to all of the businesses that are involved in the Chamber to ask our local national city partners to donate. And so we'll make sure that we get that out through our new talking point system as well, so our families also can help donate if they so choose. So thank you for asking about that. And thank you to the trustees that were able to participate in the ribbon cutting yesterday. That was great. We don't always hear the outcomes of the work that our staff put in, especially to students. And a few months ago, we heard about a graduation of one of our students who became a doctor. And she is now living back here in California, doing her residency. We're just super excited and super proud. And then to hear another trustee talk about her son starting at SDSU, another trustee, her daughter going back to the community college. These are just shine moments and examples of the impact that we don't see in elementary school, but that we end up hearing about later on. So we're very, thank you. And then we are, and we have some swag. We do have another one of our trustee sons heading off to the University of Oregon, which I'm sure we'll hear about at the next board meeting. But thank you for sharing those stories, because, sometimes we hyper focus on things like one test score 1 year, as opposed to the collective impact of my son got to attend camp, even though he has special needs, and he's still wearing his shirt. My older son learned ballroom dancing and learned those peer interactions. These are the stories that we want to capture this year through our shine theme. And so thank you for illuminating those tonight. The moments. That's our book study. Magic moments, I think. I also wanted to congratulate Trustee Betancourt Castañeda for being elected the CSBA Chair for the Candidate Review Committee. Maybe we'll hear more from you at the AEC Annual Conference. And with that, I just also want to say Happy Labor Day.
All right, I want to thank Caitlin and Nancy Chan for coming out and just so graciously sharing with us, $50,000 as represented through tables. On the one hand, the kids will just sit and they'll chat and they'll plug in and charge their Chromebooks, and they won't necessarily always think about what those tables are. But those tables represent a whole lot because they are somebody's story, and those stories include the loss of people, and they include people's lives wrapped up in everything from sicknesses and illnesses and successes and fights against cancer. Include a lot of things like that. So we are thankful to Sun Safety for Schools for coming out and doing that presentation, but most of all for looking at our kids and saying important people. So thank you to Caitlin and Nancy and to Sun Safety for Schools for yesterday's presentation. We also, just honestly, we're thankful as well for our presenters who do come and take the time for public comment. Sometimes public comment is rejoicing, and sometimes it's hard. But the public comment, it's the public's right to come and speak to us, and it's important that we get to listen. It's also weird, and I know that. So if you're listening and you wonder what public comment's about, the weird part is, according to the way it is handled, we sit here and look at you, and that's weird. But it is the way it's supposed to be handled, because if it's kind of the law thing, we listen to you. We aren't really supposed to talk back, and so I know it may feel like we aren't listening. We are, and we do try to honor what you're saying by making sure we're taking notes, and we respond in that way. Those are things that we go back and we get to talk about and ask for information on, things like that. But just according to the way that law goes for school boards, they actually can't talk about it in a meeting. But please know that we take your concerns seriously, and what you say matters. We are accountable to you, and we understand that. So thank you for when you take the time and come and share with us. I got to go to visit Olivewood and Palmer Way this last week, and I want to thank the classrooms and the teachers and staff and students who invited me in. Shout out to all 6th grade teachers. You know you have my heart, and especially those of you getting ready for camp soon, because that is way too cool. And then I also, on the flip side, have to show the absolute utmost and greatest respect to the kinder and little people teachers because I just could not be you. I know my limits and you are my limits. And then family shout outs, since we like to do them. Michaela is going to third year at school and is exhausted after moving all kinds of students in yesterday. The second year as an RA, my introverted baby who had to move in like 700 freshmen yesterday. I still don't know how the introvert does the RA thing, but somehow or another does it. And then I have to do a shout out for my dad. He turned 80 on Sunday and like is partying it up with my mom. I don't know, on a cruise. I like wasn't even around for me to say hi to, but hey, those are the good things. We're thankful for our families. We're thankful and we rejoice with them. And thank you for this evening. This meeting is adjourned.